place in our childhood storybooks where people wear wooden shoes and where there are windmills and where the infamous little boy stuck his finger in the leak in the dike to keep the whole country from being flooded by the Zuider Zee was called Holland. But if you look on a map of Europe, you'll quickly discover that where Holland is supposed to be, you'll find instead the Netherlands. And on a real good map, you'll see that two of the provinces of the Netherlands are named North Holland and South Holland, kind of like states in America, or more specifically, states in the United States. Another example of how names get interchanged: America for United States, Holland for the Netherlands. Well, in the Netherlands today, there are still a few windmills, mostly in museums, and they're a few hundred years old. Matter of fact, our first stop after landing in Amsterdam, the capital of the Netherlands, was at one such museum. And it was the perfect day to explore windmills. A tropical system had made a turn in the Atlantic and headed inland over northern Europe, so we had spits of rain and a lot of wind that day. You know what these old windmills were used for back in the day? Well, milling wheat into flour, I'm sure, and other uses you'd expect from mills, like this one we toured, grinding big chunks of raw material into pigment for paint. But even then, there was one prime job windmills had here that superseded all the rest. They pumped water. Yes, water, not to people's houses, but out of the canals and drainage ditches back over the dikes, because we'd call those levees in Mississippi, back into the North Sea to keep the land from flooding. A great percentage of the present-day landmass of the Netherlands is below sea level, land reclaimed by such things as building levees out across the mouths of inlets and harbors and the like, and then pumping all that water back out into the sea again, eventually leaving land behind for building or planting. Now, the canals created by channeling the water to somewhere where it can be pumped are very picturesque in places like Amsterdam. They're lined with tall, narrow homes. Some of these have been here so long they're the subjects of some of the paintings by the old Dutch masters like Rembrandt. One of these houses is where the famous World War II-era diarist Anne Frank and her family hid away in a secret room in the attic beside one of the canals in Amsterdam. So, climbing around in an old Dutch windmill is something else I can check off my bucket list that wasn't even on my bucket list until I did it. I think that's one thing that traveling does. It lets you add surprising and unexpected items to a bucket list. Things you never even knew about until you got to where you were going, just so you can say you've done them.